Okay, so we're going to look at UV mapping a car. It's actually not as hard as you might think. Let's look at this UV set here. I'm going to go into the UV editor. I'm going to hit U, unwrap UVW. Okay, so this is the basic idea. Now, as you can see, all of these faces on the model are all facing the same direction. There are some breaks in the UVs that is allowing it to be flipped facing in the same direction while also still being connected. As you can see here, this is where there's a divide between these polys. I define what's called a seam, okay? And I do that in 4 locations of the model that I decide, the front and the back. And I use this tool. It's called the pelt tool. It's a function that's going to allow the UVs to be spread in all directions, and then I'm going to relax the UVs, and that's going to tighten it up and bring it all back into form. It'll make a lot more sense when you actually see me use the tools in practice. Alright, so let's get out of this. Alright, so here's a model that needs to be unwrapped. Oh, the UVs are just in horrible shape. Alright, so we just want to establish some level of control here. So I'm going to select the entire set, and I'm going to give it a planar projection. Alright, now this is exactly what I want, but let's say you did a planar projection from this direction, okay? This could work for you based on the technique that I'm going to use, but having it be projected on the z-axis from the top works out the best. So I'm going to use my freeform mode tool. Alright, let me disengage the projection, and I'm holding shift. I'm going to scale it up. I'm also going to just scale the model, or rather the UVs down a little bit, holding control, just so that we can see the squares better on the model itself. Alright, so I'm just going to hold shift and I'm scaling it out. Alright, so this is good. It's relatively all square. Alright, so now I'm going to define some seams so that I can then pelt the model. So I'm going to go ahead and click on seams, edit seams. Okay, now I'm going to hold control and I'm just going to click on the edge to define my first seam. Alright, now I'm just going to find that same identical edge and define that side as well. So now this section of the model, like you saw in the previous example, is going to flip upwards in the UV. Alright, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing from the back. This, before you ever unwrap an object, it requires you to visualize the process so you understand the process based on what you need the final outcome to be. When you actually start texturing, the notion of how you need to unwrap a model will become a lot more apparent. Okay, so I need to select this edge here, like so. Alright, so I have the back selected, so from here on down, this entire back face is going to flip out. It's going to stick out, and the same for the front. Alright, so now, let me zoom out a little bit. Here's the pelt function, pelt map. Alright, so now we have these excellent UV rays. And what you want to do here is you want to just drag select the UV rays, just the UV rays themselves, not the UVs. So if this happens, Control Z. Alright, now continue selecting the UV rays. Alright, so I'm holding Control Alt and middle mouse button to zoom out. Alright, and then I'm going to hold Control Alt again and just click left. I'm going to scale the UV rays outwards, and then I'm going to click Start Pelt. Now as you can see, it's relaxed the UVs. Alright, this would be really hard to achieve by planar mapping. It's practically impossible. Alright, now I'm going to hold Shift and Alt to scale upwards, like so, and I'm going to pelt again. And so that pelts it in the direction that I stretched it in. Alright, now you can see the model isn't exactly unwrapped yet because it's distorted in different ways, but it is unwrapped. But just the pixel density is all messed up, so we need to adjust that. Alright, so I'm going to commit to that. Alright, so now, in the earlier video I showed you to access the Relax tool by clicking on Tools. You can still do that, but you can also right-click, select Relax, going into the dialog box. We want to relax by polygon angles and raise the amount to 1. Start relax. Stop relax. Sometimes you might want to do it once or twice. Alright, so that's good. I'll commit to that. Let me scale this down. Control. And as we saw before, now we have a vehicle that's unwrapped. Alright, thanks for watching.